There's been so much going on this week, so let's take a look at the top stories. Firstly, WNBA star Brittney Griner has just been released from Russian prison in a dramatic high-level prisoner exchange, and Canadian singer Celine Dion has just revealed that she's been diagnosed with a rare neurological disorder. But we'll get more into that story a little bit later. Yesterday, American officials announced the release of Brittney Griner from Russian prison in exchange for the US releasing notorious Russian arms dealer Victor Bout. But the terms of the swap has already been criticized by many because it carried a heavy price and left behind an American that had been jailed for nearly 4 years in Russia. But there was a real reason that President Joe Biden decided to put Griner's case to the top of the pile. The detention of one of the greatest players in WNBA history brought about a swirl of unprecedented public attention, not to mention the fact that it put intense pressure on the White House. Since her arrest in February, there's no doubt that Brittney Griner became the most high-profile American to be jailed abroad. Right from the jump, there were several factors in her case that brought about a heightened sense of urgency. As an openly queer black woman, she was being locked up in a country where authorities were known to be hostile to the LGBTQ community. So that really complicated her case because it added certain elements of racial, gender, and social dynamics, making each development a matter of international importance. Her case not only brought about unprecedented publicity to the dozens of Americans wrongfully detained by foreign governments, but it also emerged as a major inflection point in US-Russia diplomacy during a time when relations between the two countries have been seriously deteriorating. In case you didn't know, Griner is a two-time Olympic gold medalist who was arrested at Moscow airport back in February when custom officials said they found vape canisters filled with hashish oil in her luggage, a substance that is illegal in Russia. Even though she pleaded guilty in July, she still had to face trial because admitting guilt in Russia's judicial system does not automatically end a case. She had to admit in court that she possessed the canisters, but maintained the fact that she had no criminal intent and said the only reason that they were in her luggage was because she packed too quickly and she didn't double check. Before her sentencing, she released an emotional apology saying, "I want to apologize for my mistake that I made and the embarrassment that I brought on them. I hope your ruling does not end my life." But her plea clearly fell on deaf ears as Griner was sentenced to 9 years in a penal colony on possession and smuggling charges alone. Her case received international attention, mostly because her punishment was way out of line for the offense. At first, her supporters mostly stayed quiet for weeks after her arrest, but that changed in May once the State Department designated her as unlawfully detained. So in order for Brittney Griner to be free, Biden authorized the release of a Russian felon once nicknamed the Merchant of Death. This decision has already proved to be extremely controversial because Victor Bout is a former Soviet Army lieutenant colonel whom the Justice Department once described as the world's most prolific arms dealer. He was serving a 25-year sentence on charges that he conspired to sell tens of millions of dollars in weapons that the US officials said were to be used against Americans. In fact, details of his crimes even inspired a Hollywood movie called The Notorious Mr. Bout. The Biden administration was ultimately willing to exchange him if it meant Griner's freedom, but obviously not everyone thought that it was a fair trade. A lot of people were also outraged by the fact that the deal was only a one-for-one swap, as Biden was not able to secure the release of Paul Whelan, a former US Marine jailed in Russia since December 2018 on espionage charges. He was sentenced in 2020 to 16 years in prison, despite the fact that the US government also classified him as wrongfully detained. So he's literally been held in Russia for 4 years now. That's why people are furious that he wasn't even included in the swap. In response to the growing criticism, Biden said, "We've never forgotten about Brittney, and we've not forgotten about Paul Whelan, who's been unjustly detained in Russia for years. This was not a choice of which American to bring home. We brought home Trevor Reed when he had a chance earlier this year. Sadly, for totally illegitimate reasons, Russia is treating Paul's case differently than Brittney's, and while we have not yet succeeded in securing Paul's release, we are not giving up." But this statement was clearly not enough to quell the public outrage. Cowboys star Micah Parsons voiced his disappointment with the deal, tweeting, "Wait, nah, we left a Marine? Hell nah." He then followed that up by saying, "My last tweet was no shot at Brittney Griner. I'm just super happy she's back home as she should be. I just have family who served, and it's crazy to me that the president wouldn't bring him home too. I'm the furthest thing from a Trump supporter, but I'm not a fan of Biden either. Although not everyone agrees with the handling of the trade, it's clear that most people are just relieved to see that Brittney Griner will finally be able to safely return to US soil. In other news this week, the legendary singer and music icon Celine Dion has been diagnosed with a rare neurological condition called stiff person syndrome, which causes her muscles to tense uncontrollably. The condition, which affects 1 in a million people, tragically turns sufferers into human statues as it progressively locks the body into rigid positions, making people unable to talk or walk. SPS is a very rare condition, and it's still not very well understood. It's characterized by fluctuating muscle rigidity in the trunk and limbs and a heightened sense of stimuli, such as noise, touch, and emotional distress, which can set off muscle spasms. Sadly, most people with SPS have frequent falls because they lack the normal defensive reflexes, and those injuries can be severe. While there is no cure yet, certain treatments like anti-anxiety medicines and muscle relaxants can slow down its progression. For her part, Celine revealed that she is currently doing all she can to minimize the symptoms. The 54-year-old singer addressed her fans in a tearful Instagram post on Thursday, as she said that the condition has forced her to postpone her European tour. She wrote, "Hello everyone, I'm so sorry it's taken me so long to reach out to you. I miss you all so much and can't wait to be on stage talking to you in person. As you know, I've always been an open book and I wasn't ready to say anything before, but I'm ready now." She went on to say that she's been dealing with problems with her health for a very long time, and it has been really difficult for her to face challenges and to talk about everything that she's been going through. Celine said, "Recently, I've been diagnosed with a very rare neurological disorder called the stiff person syndrome, which affects 1 in a million people. While we're still learning about this very rare condition, we now know that it's been causing all the spasms that I've been having. Unfortunately, she says the spasms have affected every aspect of her daily life, sometimes causing difficulties when she walks and not allowing her to use her vocal cords to sing the way that she's used to. She said, "It hurts me to tell you today that this means I won't be ready to restart my tour in Europe in February. I have a great team of doctors working alongside me to help me get better, and my precious children who are supporting me and giving me help. I'm working hard with my sports medicine therapist every day to build back my strength and my ability to perform again, but I have to admit that it's been a struggle. All I know is singing, and it's what I've done all my life, and it's what I love to do the most. I miss you so much. I miss seeing all of you on the stage performing for you." But Celine reassured her fans that she will be taking time to concentrate on her health and the road to recovery, saying, "This is my focus and I'm doing everything I can to recuperate." She then updated fans on her tour dates, and she shared a poster of the rescheduled and cancelled concerts. Well, that's all the story that we have on this for today. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and thank you so much for watching.